Well, folks, I continue my conversations with some of the award winners from the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce. I'm here at Peninsula Credit Union, the 2025 Business of the Year. Jim Burrell, CEO, and Charlie Omendinger, also finalist for Boss of the Year. So congratulations on both of those things. Peninsula is no stranger to this award as well. They won it back in 2014 and continue to be just a great advocate for the community and for credit unions. And so, Jim, talk to me a little bit about what it means to receive this award as voted on by the folks in the chamber.
We are super excited across the entire organization for us or have received this now a couple of times. It means that we have sustainability. Our team has rallied around how we serve the community and how we serve the members. Not only the people that are front-facing, that engage with members every day like Charlie, but everybody. Our underwriters, our collections folks, our IT staff that makes sure that things are plugged in, marketing, accounting, everybody that's in the organization contributes to the success, and we want to recognize that. And we're just super honored. We have some really great other businesses in the community, Superior Construction and SPI. They were also finalists, and congratulations to them. We just really see this as a highlight in what we're trying to do with everyday Mason County households and members and trying to improve their financial well-being.
You have a branch here, obviously, in Shelton, because that's where we're at. There's also one in Belfair in Mason County, but your reach does go expanded on that. For those who don't know, where else are you?
We have two other branches in Kitsap County, in Port Orchard and Paulsbo, and then also a branch up in Port Townsend in Jefferson County.
How is it, how are you able, and I'll just kind of assume this award goes across the whole spectrum, even though it's a chamber, Shelton-Mason County Chamber, across the whole spectrum. How do you maintain high levels of member service, fiscal transparency, all the things that need to go into a branch that's spread out that far?
Yeah. So it starts at the top of our organization, which is really our members. So in a financial cooperative, it's the members that own this institution. They elect a board of directors that say, here's the strategy that we want to pursue. We want to pursue community development. We want to make sure that we're serving people that are living at or around a household survival budget. More recently, we want to serve the growing Hispanic population and our neighbors that are here primarily in our area from Mexico and indigenous Mayan people from Guatemala. And so that's the focus, that's the strategy. But where it all binds together is in our fairly simple mission statement, which hasn't changed since I've been here for 14 years, that we listen, we serve, we educate, and we care always. That's in every interaction with members, with one another. We're trying to practice that empathy so that we understand the situation before we can try and help with the next steps that somebody wants to take.
Here, Charlie, at the Shelton branch, like Jim was saying, there has been a concerted effort on the push for inclusion and buy-in with the Hispanic community. You've had some great events here over the last year or so, and some of the things your digital services are doing helps to kind of bridge some of those language barriers and things like that. What do you see from folks who may be hesitant into entering the financial world when it comes to the openness here, the ability to work with folks at Peninsula?
Yeah, it's really great. I think one of the best things is we have two member-facing Hispanic employees. And so it's just really comforting for them to see familiar faces, hear their own language when they come in. So instead of saying, hi, welcome in, they greet them in Spanish. And it's just one of the best things. You can see their face just light up, being able to see familiar faces and hear their language. We do have a FireLingo tablet that is used for translation services. We like to do kind of a combination effort where we do have our Spanish-speaking employees kind of introduce them to the tablet. That makes them feel more comfortable and have that buy-in in general. If they trust it, you know, if our Spanish-speaking employees trust it, they trust it wholeheartedly. So I've been able to have really cool conversations with some Spanish-speaking members that I would have never had the opportunity to do. Goes beyond just, you know, doing a loan or opening a new account. I've got to have conversations about their kids and their families and where they came from, and that would have never been an opportunity without that FireLingo tablet. So that's been a really cool experience.
Yeah, we have those tools and resources that Charlie mentioned. We have a half dozen team members within our organization that are bilingual Spanish, and they provide one set of feedback as far as a loop about what's working well, what's being received well. We have another internal group that focuses primarily on our strategy related to the Hispanic community. And then this past year, we've also added an external Hispanic Advisory Council. Hispanic members, they're either Mexican or Guatemalan, that are providing us sort of what we may not see. I certainly don't have the background or experience having lived in Guatemala or Mexico or anywhere other than the Pacific Northwest. And so it's really been helpful. And it was that group, actually, those external advisors that our board has appointed, that said, we really think it is time for you to celebrate that Juntos Avanzamos. Together We Advance certification that we received now almost a year and a half ago. And we had delayed sort of putting that out because of my own fears. But the external advisory council said, no, it's time to do that. So we had 350 people in our parking lot in September to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month. And it was an outpouring of a whole wide swath of our community embracing our neighbors who live amongst us, and what we're trying to do to outreach to that community.
Other outreach that happens here locally is your financial education pieces. I know Daryl McVeigh very well, and we work together on a whole host of different things, and it really runs the gambit of being in the high schools, explaining to kids financial reality through your Bite of Reality fairs that you have with great partners across the community. Daryl's not only here in Shelton, but in Belfair at different organizations, able to kind of break down even more barriers when it comes to understanding finances. And those services are free for folks to come to the library, sit there with him, and he's very personable and is able to really kind of disarm folks, I think, in a way that allows them to hear the information on what they can do to help themselves. Where did that kind of come from in either your ethos here as the CEO or what board direction on, listen, we need to help people understand what credit card fees are going to do to them, what being able to put a little bit of savings off to the side is going to do to them, what can we tell high schoolers to be prepared for once they get into the real world?
Mm-hmm. It's actually been something we've been doing, Jeff, for now a decade. Just shortly after we became a community development financial institution, which is institutions that the U.S. Treasury identifies are focused on helping economically distressed communities and economically distressed households. So in 2016, I believe, was the first time we had a community financial educator. And the kernel of that thought was there are many people that have a tremendous amount of anxiety about walking into the hallowed halls of any financial institution, the big marbled lobby,
sure,
image, because they've had so much experience being told we're not worthy, our credit score isn't high enough, so I don't want to go through, I've got enough anxiety, stress in my life, and we try and lower that barrier by putting somebody today like Daryl out in the communities where he's meeting people at the YMCA, meeting people at Turning Point and Belfair. He does sessions in Kitsap County as well, where he just breaks it down to the personal level. And for some, it's easier perhaps in their slippers late at night at home. We have free resources, balance tools on our website that people can go. You do not have to be a member to utilize those services, so those are available for folks. All of our team members are certified financial counselors. We have different programs for our member-facing team members and our support team members, but everybody has, even within our own organization, things that come up. Health care issues that cost money, tires that need to be replaced, water heaters that break. For some members, especially sometimes on fixed income, they need to get that money to cover the last month for prescription and food to put on their table, and we find ways to consolidate debt, to explain really sometimes complicated or weird terms in ways that help support them, that we can both mutually understand.
Being a boss can be tough sometimes. Where did you learn the skill set involved to get you to where you were honored by your staff as a great boss?
Yeah, I mean, before I had worked here, I had never managed a team. I had never done anything like that. I was a waitress, and I kind of had worked my way up doing customer service. I got a job here. Jen Duncan, the manager in Shelton, gave me a chance. I had some cash handling experience, but nothing compared to what we do on a daily basis here. I learned a lot from her. I spent a lot of time shadowing her. She would have some tough conversations with members and things like that, and I was able to sit and be a part of those conversations, just listening and how she cared and handled those tough situations. Eventually, I was brought in to be the assistant branch manager. I just can't say enough about this organization and their desire to build up young leaders. Last year, we had the opportunity to be a part of the Personified Leadership training course. It was a 3-day-long course. All of the leaders throughout the organization, assistant branch managers, HR, we had some people from IT and accounting, all got to take part in that Personified Leadership, and we learned, from the ground up, listening, caring, what all of that means to our teams and how we can, be better leaders. And I think it really started with Jen giving me a chance, but ultimately the leadership really advocating for young leaders and allowing us to take those training courses and build ourselves up. So
one thing I see out in public with Peninsula specifically is when you talk a little bit about this, it doesn't, so people have titles, assistant branch manager, Jen's the branch manager, Jim's the CEO, whatever. But when it comes down to rolling up your sleeves and getting some work done, whether that is walking around and picking up trash around town, pouring lemonade on a hot forest festival, or cocoa on a cold Christmas town parade, everybody is able to see the mission and work together without somebody going, I'm the blankety blank here. Find somebody else to do that. How do you impress upon that with your staff about that stuff?
I'm a really strong believer that we're about trying to create value in people's lives, and our team members, I believe, think that and actually do create that value, so that adheres them to the mission of the organization, that we're listening, serving, educating, and caring. And Charlie, I know, has a lot of, we call them wow stories. They're on our website. Anybody can go on our blog. We posted 90 of them last year for our 90th anniversary. But Charlie, I think you had a story where your interaction between support areas of the organization and helping a member was really impactful for people you were working with.
Yeah, like Jim had said, I have a lot of these interactions, and we do meet people sometimes in their lowest of lows,
sure.
And trying to help them feel like there is a way out. And so our collections team was working with this gentleman. He, I believe, was close to 60 days late on his auto loan payment. And he had reached out and said, I can't make my payments. I don't know what to do. Not only am I late on this auto loan payment, I have credit card payments that are piling up. So it's not just this one thing. There's a mass amount of things that are leading to his struggle. They listened and said, okay, well, let's see what we can do. And Trina, in our collections department, she was able to send me an email. She had gone over every little bit and piece with him, what debts he had, what he had as income, every little piece. She left no rock uncovered. And with that information, I was able to draft up a new loan where we were consolidating all of his credit card debts using the equity that he had available in his auto loan. even though he was late on his auto loan, he still had quite a bit of equity available. And so we were able to consolidate all of his debts, roll up all of those high interest cards into a lower interest monthly payment. So it was, not only was it a lower monthly payment, it was quite a bit lower interest. He came in and signed paperwork with me, and he had tears in his eyes. I will never forget, he was signing his paperwork, and as he got up, he's like, you know, you don't know what this means to me. This is the magic of credit unions. It's people helping people, and, you know, I never want anyone to feel like, you know, I'm above them, or I don't understand what they're going through, because I want to hear their stories. And it was so impactful to hear him say, you don't know what this means to me, you know. Having him save that amount of money. He shared with me that he's helping take care of his 83-year-old mother. And so on top of just being late with payments and credit cards stacking up, just the rising cost of groceries and things like that was impacting him. So this was a huge thing across many areas of his life. So it was great to be a part of that.
And one thing I hope that everybody that may listen to this conversation, Jeff, and share with others is that story that Charlie shared is not unique. These stories happen every day where we're meeting somebody where they're at and trying to help understand what their situation is, because we can't make assumptions. We couldn't assume that there's a certain type of loan that would help solve this member's challenges. We had to understand and hear what he was sharing with us, and then Charlie's skills and the rest of our team member, like Trina from our collections area, saying, let's figure out how to make this situation better. I'm a really firm believer that financial services should be available for everybody at an affordable way and in a place where it makes sense for them. Should not be our reality where individuals, some in their financial lives smell smog and others smell roses. I shared that when we received the award, that it's a fundamental right that people have to have affordable financial services, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they come from. That's what we're passionate about. There's far too much economic and political chaos that's going on. Support it, not support it, whatever. It's just, life is difficult, right? And we are in the business of being those financial first responders to be able to intervene and to help, and that takes trust. You don't just open up your financial life to somebody unless you've built a relationship with them, unless you understand that they really, truly, and genuinely care. And I think that's what's sustainable here at Peninsula, where we've proven to be sustainable, and what's being recognized by the community at large for this type of recognition.
I think having the kind of front-facing, friendly-facing things that credit unions offer does help people, in a sense, disarm them in a way that they can pick up the phone and call and say, I need assistance with this. And that's something that you can do, right? I mean, that's within... Mm-hmm. Call up Peninsula and say, listen, I'm struggling right now.
Yeah.
Can we figure something out, as opposed to waiting months and months and months, and all of a sudden you're kind of past the point of no return, and you go, gosh, man, and if you would have just called, we could have maybe worked out something together.
We know that 47% of the population has $400 or less in emergency savings. That's not a lot. That's, maybe a couple of tires,
right?
And you need 4 last time I checked, unless you have a motorcycle.
Sure.
Right? So it's that reality that we face. We know that nearly 2.5 out of every 5 households here in Mason County are just trying to get by from month to month with what they get paid. That's multiple incomes, right? And then you have something happen unexpected. Coming up this month is National Cancer Awareness Day. Or actually in February, I guess we're not quite there yet, but in February, and think of how many people may have been impacted in your lives with cancer, right? Or think of how many people may have been impacted by needing to take care of a parent or a child who gets sick. There's a lot of expenses that come our way that are not part of our regularly daily scheduled programming.
Yeah.
And if we can provide that moment of calm to bring people to a point where we can help walk with you to that next step. And that's true whether it be with Daryl in financial education or our wealth management advisor, Enric, who we work with. Anybody, I believe, has financial anxiety and stress, even people that have a lot of wealth that I've encountered, right? So they might feel more confident, but at the end of the day, there's some things that come up that, that's not my specialty, right? Let us try and find out if there's a way that we can assist.
The 2025 finalists for Boss of the Year and the 2025 Business of the Year, Peninsula Credit Union. Just a great look at what goes on here and what you do and have continued to do since the last award and since you've been in town for, 14 years now?
I have, yeah.
I remember when he first came into the radio station, it was dark early in the morning one morning, and Jim Dale and I had a great chat about
I used to wear a tie.
You did, you did. That's when you were brand
Not
new.
so often, yeah.
For sure. Jim Morrell, Charlie Allmendinger, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.